Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryankaravavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we were looking at how Vedanta is taught. Because initially, who is an adhikari, that was discussed. And what is the Vishaya? What is the Sambandha, the connection between the subject matter and the text itself? And also, what is the Prayojanam? All these things we discussed, the Anubandha Chatushtaya. Then finally, it was said that if there is a qualified student, then the Guru will teach. And how the teaching is done? Using a methodology called Adhyaropa Apavada, deliberate superimposition and negation. Why this methodology is to be used is because what is being revealed cannot be objectified, and it need not be objectified also. So the problem being wrong cognition. Only negation of all these wrong identities and wrong cognition is required, because the self is self-revealing and self-existent. It is not an object of any means of knowledge. It will not become an object of any means of knowledge also. It is eternally the subject. So the only way to reveal this self as Satyam, the ultimate reality, is to first show this self as the cause of everything, and then the effect becomes mithya. Then the effect will be negated. All the effects will be negated, and the self is shown as the Swarupa, or the very nature or self of the negator, who can never be negated. So this is the teaching methodology. And in this, the self itself is presented as Nirguna Brahma, or Shuddha Chaitanyam, we say. The very nature of self, oneself, is that you are a limitless conscious being. That is your very nature. But then how do we account for the world which is being perceived, and also the subject who is the perceiver? And we also think that there are many people who are perceiving this world. Right? All these things have to be accounted for. For that purpose only, now the Adhyaropa is started. The Brahman itself is Sachidananda Swarupa, Satyam Jnanam Ananta Swarupa. Correct? Here, in fact, this author says Sachidanandam Advayam Brahma. This is the Shuddha Chaitanya, or Nirgunam Brahma. But Ajnanadi Sakala Jada Samuha Avastu. The Ajnanadi, starting from Ajnana onwards, all the inert things, Ajnanam also is inert really. They are the Avastu. And the problem is, because the Vastu is taken as the Avastu, and Avastu's qualities are taken as Vastu's quality, or oneself is taken as the not self, and not self's qualities are taken as the qualities of the self, and you are suffering. So to get rid of that only, first we talk about all these avastu, how this avastu has come, how the not self has come about. And here Ajnanam was first introduced as also a Devatma Shakti, because this is how the Upanishad itself is revealing this. And it was said that this Ajnanam is really anirvachaniyam. Okay, that also the author is saying here. Anirvachaniyam means uncategorizable. You cannot say it really exists, but you cannot say it does not exist also because it appears. So it is basically in between. It cannot be categorized as this or that. And this Ajnana is supposed to have the three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. And it is Jnana Virodhi. It is opposed to Jnana because it can cover and also project. It can cover Jnanam and it can project something else. And Yatkinchit Bhavarupam, we say. Bhavarupam here means it is not totally tucha or non-existent. That's all. This Bhavarupam really does not mean that it is a parallel reality to Brahman and all that. Some people actually misconstrue this Bhavarupatvam of Ajnanam and think that by saying Ajnanam is there, we are actually saying that there is one more thing. Then there is Advaita Hani, correct? Advaita is no more tenable. But that's not the way it is understood. Ajnanam also is of a different order of reality. The pot cannot do anything to the clay, correct? Pot is really Mithya. Pot is a different order of reality. Name and forms cannot affect the substance itself. Like that, this Ajnanam, even though Ajnanam is provisionally talked about to explain all whatever we are seeing here, it is not of the same order of reality as Brahman. So there is no problem for Advaita by itself. But it is taken as at least relatively existent because the relative world also is existent and the cause for that also should have the same order of reality. That is the idea here. Yatkinchit Bhava Rupam is said. And then how do you know this Ajnanam is there? Means at an individual level, Ajnanam everybody knows, correct? You know that you know, you know that you don't know also. So whatever you don't know means you are saying, I don't know, means you are having ignorance with reference to that Vishaya. And whenever we talk about Ajnanam or ignorance, we have to say with reference to which subject or object and also in whom this Ajnanam is there. All the individuals have Ajnanam. They have Ajnanam with reference to different objects in the world. They have Ajnanam with reference to themselves. Self-ignorance is the root ignorance, we should say. And for Ishvara, this Ajnanam is like a Shakti, Devatma Shakti. Okay, and it actually, that Ishvara Shakti only is covering for the individuals, it becomes like a cover. Like even the magician is not fooled by the magic. For the magician, the magic itself is some kind of a Shakti, right? It is his power. But the onlookers, they think that there is something real in the magic. And they are covered that way, correct? They don't know how the magic works really. So that's what we have to understand. For Ishvara, it is Shakti. For the Jiva, the individual, it is a covering. It is Ajnanam. And further, this Ajnanam itself is going to be talked about as at the individual level and at the total level. So, idam ajnanam samashti vyashti abhiprayena ekam anekam iti cha vyavahriyate. So, this is talked about in totality. Also, ajnanam is talked about as one. And when we see the individuals, it is talked about as many. I think even this one we briefly talked about, this 36 also. And he is giving two analogies for that. One is woods and the trees, correct? Or forest and tree. Vanam and vriksha. So vanam iti ekatva vyapadesha. So when you say it is a forest or a wooded area, then we are using singular as though it is one. But vrikshanam yata vrikshanam samashti abhiprayena vanam iti ekatva vyapadesha. That's what he says. There are many trees. Vrikshanam. When you say vrikshanam, you are talking about trees in plural. But in totality, you are calling it as a vanam or a forest using a singular noun. And one more analogy also is given, Jalana, like different waters are there, but all of them in totality you are calling it as Jalashaya, reservoir. Similarly, in the case of Ajnanam also, Nanatvena Pratibhasamananam Jivagata Ajnananam. So that which is shining as many, correct? Nanatvena Pratibhasamananam, and which is also Jivagata Ajnananam, means that is all found in the Jivas, in the individuals. But when you talk about those ignorance with reference to Jiva, it is many. But when you talk about the same thing in total, Samashti Abhiprayena, the Ekatva Vyapadesha, it is talked about as one. And for that also again, this author is quoting the Upanishad, because Ajnanam with reference to Ishvara, only the Veda has to talk about that as a Shakti. Jiva Ajnanam is Pratyaksha. I know that I have ignorance. But how do you know Ishvara is having this? Means only the Veda has to reveal that to us. Ishvara also is revealed by the Veda, and this Ishvara Shakti also is revealed by the Vedas. Ajam Ekam. The Ekam is the important word here. So Ajam also means that which is not born. Okay. And then it goes Lohita, Shukla, Krishna, Nam, like that. Three colors are there for that. And from that, many things are getting born like that. The entire Srishti is talked about like in that manner. That three colors or three colored constituents are taken as the three gunas. So like this, the Shvetashvara Shruti is quoted here to say that the Shruti also is talking about, with reference to Ishvara, the same Ajnana or Shakti is talked about in singular, and with reference to the Jiva, again he will quote the Shruti that we'll talk about in plural, that we'll come to. Now, Brahman is there, and Brahman conditioned by the total Upadhi, we say, correct? Upadhi means what? Upadhi means in English we say conditioning factor. So literally Upadhi means something which is close to some other thing, and it as though lends its property to the other thing, which is not really there in the other thing. So typically, what is the example? Japa Kusuma, we say. So you have Spatika and Japa Kusuma. Spatika, we all know, is a crystal, correct? It is transparent. It doesn't have any color of its own. But you put a red flower besides this crystal, this Spatika, then the Spatika appears to be red. Spatika is not really red, but the flower is lending its color to the Spatika as though it is conditioning it. That's the conditioning factor or the Upadhi. Upadhi means something which is coming near the another thing, and it is as though giving its qualities to the other thing. That is what is called a Upadhi. And this Brahman has this Ajnanam or Maya, which is the Shakti, as its Upadhi and becomes Ishvara. That is what is called Sagunam Brahma. The Upadhi, from the standpoint of the Upadhi, when you look at the Nirgunam Brahma, it is Ishvara, and that Ishvara is nothing but Sagunam Brahma. Otherwise, we call Ishvara as Sagunam Brahma. The consciousness which is manifest in the Ishvara Upadhi only, we call it as Sagunam Brahma or Ishvara itself. And the Upadhi is the Shakti, or it is the Ajnanam at the Samashti level. So, Iyam Samashtihi Utkrishta Upadhitaya Vishuddha Sattva Pradhana. That's what now the Vedanta Sarakara is saying, that the Upadhi of Ishvara, the conditioning factor itself is Vishuddha Sattva, he says. It is pure Sattva Pradhana Upadhi. Why? Because Ishvara is all knowing. Ishvara, whatever qualities we can think of, like even the Vishishtaadvaitis say that Ishvara is Ananta Kalyana Guna Sampanna, they say. Countless auspicious qualities are there in Vishnu, in Narayana and all that. We can accept that. When we look at Ishvara, Ishvara has all the qualities. But why only Kalyana Guna? That also is a problem really in one way. Ishvara has all the gunas in totality. We like to look upon all the Kalyana Gunas, at least, and call Ishvara as Bhagavan. Bhagavan also, when we say that Bhagavan has sixfold qualities and all that, where everything is Samagra, correct? In total, complete, full, like that, all knowing, all powerful, etc. So being the total itself, it is Utkrishta, means it is superior, you can say. So the Bhagavan's Upadhi is superior because it is the total Upadhi, and that Upadhi itself has the characteristic that it is pure and it is Sattva Guna Pradhan, Vishuddha Sattva, pure Sattva it is. That's why Bhagavan has all knowledge, all power, all resources, everything is all. So this is now Bhagavat Upadhi, and the Upahita Chaitanyam is Ishvara Sagunam Brahma. Upahitam means that which is conditioned or that which is appearing or manifest in the Upadhi, correct? Then he is now actually going to talk about the Upahitam Chaitanya. So first the characteristic of the Upadhi has been said here. Now what? Etad Upahitam Chaitanyam Sarvajñatva Sarveshwaratva Sarvaniyantrittvadi Gunakam Avyaktam Antaryami Jagat Karanam Ishvara iti cha Vyapadishyate Sakala Ajnana Avabhasakatva. Okay, so this sentence first. Etad Upahitam Chaitanyam. Okay, this Chaitanya, which is conditioned by the Samashti Upadhi and which is appearing as the conditioned consciousness, it is known. Okay, Vyapadishyate means it is known or it is indicated by, it is denoted by certain words. What are those words? The Chaitanyam which is manifesting in the total Upadhi is known as Avyaktam. Okay, the unmanifest or undifferentiated. Okay, Antaryami, the one who is there in and through every individual, everything in this world. Vishnu really. Antaryami means Antar, Ante Tishtan Yamayati. Being within each and everything, that Chaitanyam alone is making everybody aware, correct? That Spuranam is there in each and every living being. That is due to that Chaitanyam only. It only makes all these upadhis sentient. So, Bhagavan alone, there is only one consciousness which is making all the beings sentient. Even in the Gita, Bhagavan says, Yata prakashayat ekaha kritsnam lokam imam ravihi kshetram kshetri tata kritsnam prakashayati bharata. Okay. Kshetram kshetri. So kshetri means the one who is there in the field or the cognizer of the field. And kshetram means there are kshetra, many kshetras are there. Each and every body, mind, sense complex is a kshetram. But all the kshetras, kritsnam kshetram, kshetri, only one kshetri is there. One consciousness, that is the one which is lighting up. Like even the sun is lighting up this entire earth during the daytime, correct? That is the analogy given. So Antaryami also the same thing. There is only one consciousness which is only manifest as the sentience or awareness of the individual consciousness of each and every being. And also the same Upahita Chaitanyam is called Jagat Karanam, Ishvaraha. All these words are used for the same Upahitam Chaitanyam. Okay. And also because it is conditioned, what are all the qualities it is getting? Sarvajñatva, all knowledge. Sarveshwaratvam means Aishwarya over everybody. Aishwarya means overlordship or being the boss or the one who has given the laws, correct? Bhagavan only is manifest as all the different orders: physical order, chemical order, biological order, physiological order, psychological order, whatever, all these orders, even dharma and adharma, correct? Moral order. So Bhagavan, we are all living subjected to the laws of Bhagavan, but Bhagavan is the one who is manifest as all the laws, but Bhagavan is not subjected to those laws. Bhagavan is transcends all these laws. There is no boss to Bhagavan. We are all, Bhagavan is the boss for all of us, but there is no other boss for the Bhagavan. So that is the Aishwarya. Sarva Aishwaryatvam is there. Sarva Niyantritvam also. He is the one who is making everybody function. Even in the Taittiriya Upanishad also, Devas are said like that. Bhishas madvatah pavate, Bhisho deti suryaha, Bhishas madagnischendrascha, Mrityurdhavati panchamayiti, like that. So all these Devas also, they are doing their work because they are afraid of the laws of Ishvara, like that. It is said that. So Ishvara only is impelling everybody to function the way they are functioning. Sarva Niyantra. So based on all these, only these names are there. Because all these qualities are there, Ishvara is called Abhyakta, Antaryami, Jagat Karanam, Ishvara, etc. So this Upahitam Chaitanyam is denoted by all these words. And also this Chaitanyam is the one which is lighting up all the individual Ajnana, Sakala Ajnana Abhasakatva. Okay. All the individual jivas, they are all impelled by the same one consciousness who is Ishvara. And how do you know this again? Because anything with reference to Ishvara, Shruti, we have to quote. So Mundaka Shruti, Yaha Sarvajnaha, Sarvavit, like that. There is a Mundaka Shruti is there. Ishvara is presented as Sarvajnaha. Okay, so it is Shrute, there is a Shruti. So Shruti quotation also is given to substantiate whatever the author is saying here. Then further what? Ishwarasya iyam samashtihi akila karanatvat karana shariram ananda prachuratvat koshavat achadakatvat cha anandamaya koshaha sarva uparamatvat sushuktihi ataha eva sthula sukshma prapancha layasthanam iti cha uchyate. Okay. Now first we talked about the conditioned consciousness. Okay. As Ishvara, Jagat Karanam, etc. Now we are talking about the conditioning factor or the Upadhi itself. Ishwarasya Iyam means Ishwarasya Iyam Upadhihi. We have to understand that. That's not given here, but that you have to supply and understand. So Ishvara, this conditioning factor or Upadhi of Ishvara itself has certain names. That is now being listed here. What are all the names which are used for that? Of course, it is Samashtihi, it is total. Akila Karanatvat, Karana Shariram. So one of the names of the Ishvara Upadhi is Karana Shariram, because it is, anyway, Ishvara is Jagat Karanam. Correct? The Jagat Karanatvam of Ishvara also is only Upadhi Krita. Understand that. It is not inherently there in Brahman. Brahman is not even Jagat Karanam, really. By itself, it is Brahman. That's all. Jagat Karanatvam of Brahman is also superimposed. It is only with reference to the world. So the Upadhi itself, only from the Karana Sharira Upadhi Drishti, Brahman is Jagat Karana. So since this Upahita Chaitanyam is Akila Karanam, correct? We say why? Because of this Karana Sharira Upadhi only. The Karana Sharira Upadhi only is giving the Akila Karanatva Guna to Brahman. Only because of the Karana Sharira Upadhi, this Nirgunam Brahma is looked upon as Jagat Karanam Brahma, which is Sagunam Brahma. Then what? Another name is Anandamaya Koshaha. This is also another upadhi. Why? Because this upadhi itself is saturated. Ananda prachuratva. Because the mayat pratyaya can come in the prachuryartham also, in the meaning of saturation. Okay, so this Ishvara upadhi, this total upadhi is also Anandamaya. It is saturated by Ananda, and also it covers, as though it covers. Koshavat achadakatvat means even like a sheath, as though the sheath is covering a sword, correct? Similarly, this Anandamaya Kosha is as though covering Ishvara. But here one more important point. It is only covering Ishvara for the Jivas. Understand that. Ishvara is not affected by any Anandamaya Kosha also. This Anandamaya Kosha's covering does not cover Ishvara. Ishvara has Atmajnanam always. In the Sarvajñatvam, Atmajnanam also is included. So Ishvara has no Ajnanam. The Ajnanam or all this Kosha etc. cannot cover Ishvara from Ishvara. The covering is only for the Jivas, the individuals. Ishvara knows everything. So this Koshavat Achadakatvam also should be understood. He is covered not from himself, but for others, Ishvara becomes covered by the Anandamaya Kosha. And also Sarva Uparamatva Sushuptihi. And Ishvara also, we say that when Ishvara is awake, when Brahma, during Brahmaji's daytime only the Sriti is there, correct? That is 4.32 billion years, we say. 1000 Chatur Yuga and all that. But when Ishvara goes to sleep, means we call it Yoga Nidra. Normal Nidra is for ourselves only. Even while sleeping, Ishvara has Jnanam, correct? Ishvara's sleep is different. So, during that time, there is a Laya is there, Pralaya is there. Okay, again, the Srishti as though it goes into unmanifest. That is another 4.32 billion years, we say. That is Ishvara's Sushupti. Okay. So when Ishvara sleep means this entire world itself is resolving. That's what we have to understand. And therefore what? That Samashti Upadhi is also called Sushuptihi. Ataha eva. Therefore only what? Sthula Sukshma Prapancha Layasthanam. So therefore, because everything resolves into the Karana Shariram, and the Sushuptihi means at that time all the gross and subtle creation, everything resolves into the potential state, which is the Karana Avastha. That's why it is called Sthula Sukshma Prapancha Laya Sthana. It is the locus of the resolution of all the gross and subtle world itself. It is said like that. Iti cha uchyate. So now we have now talked about the conditioned consciousness with reference to the total upadhi and how it is denoted, which are all the words which are used to denote that. And we have also talked about the total conditioning factor or upadhi itself, what are the words used for that purpose. Correct? The words are, again, let me just repeat, Karana Shariram, Anandamaya Koshaha, Sushuptihi, these are all the words used. Now again, he is now going into the Vyashti. The Samashti has been now talked about, different words and all have been again introduced to you. Now about the individual. So Yatha Vanasya Vyashti Abhiprayena Vriksha iti Anekatva Vyapadeshaha Yatha va Jalashayasya Vyashti Abhiprayena Jalani iti Tatha Ajnanasya Vyashti Abhiprayena तद अनेकत्व व्यपदेशः इंद्रो मायाभिः पुरुरूप ईयते इत्यादि श्रुतेः. So this is another very famous Shruti quotation, Indro Mayabhihi Pururupa Iyate. This is from Rigveda itself, but it is also part of the Mahanarayana Upanishad also. Normally we study Taittiriya Upanishad, only the first three vallis we study, but the fourth valli is called Narayana valli, or it is called Mahanarayana Upanishad as a separate Upanishad. There also this Indro Mayabhihi Pururupa Iyate comes. Even in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad also this is quoted. Okay, so here Indra means it is Brahman alone, not the Devendra. Devendra comes later on in Puranas and all that. In many places in the Veda, Indra is used for Parameshwara. Anyway, so here, before we talk about the quotation, Yatha Vanasya Vyashti Abhiprayena. So when you take the forest itself, but if you start looking at the individual constituents of that forest, then what? Vrikshaha, then you say it is all trees. Okay, Vrikshaha iti anekatva vyapadeshaha. So you say these are all trees, like that you are now using plural noun, correct? You are denoting it by a plural noun. Or another analogy, Yatava Jalashayasya Vyashti Abhiprayena. So even the reservoir water, you can say it is all waters, because even in a reservoir there is one puddle here, there is some water in some other side. Once you can even name all those things differently, correct? So Jalani, you can still use plural with reference to those waters. Similarly, Tatha Ajnanasya. Similarly, the Ajnana, initially we saw Ekatva Vipadeshaha, Ajam Ekam and all that. But now, with reference to the individuals, in countless Ajnanas are there, so many Jivas are there. So, Vyashti Abhiprayana, tad Anekatva Vyapadeshaha, the Ajnanas are themselves talked about using plural. Again, for this, we have to go back to only the Shruti. Shruti itself uses plural also here. It uses Indraha. Here, Indra is Brahman only. Mayabhihi. Mayabhihi is plural. Due to Maya only, Pururupaha Iyate means what? Puru means here Bahu. So attains or takes the many different forms. The same Brahman, due to all this Maya, many Maya or many Ajnanas, takes up many different forms, many different life forms, many different forms also. In general, all names and forms. So this Shruti is quoted to show the Vyashti Upadhis. And again, Atra Vyasta Samasta Vyapittvena Vyashti Samashtita Vyapadesha. So why do we even use the words Vyashti and Samashti? What is the meaning? This also the author is trying to explain to you. He says, because the individual Upadhi is limited, it is Vyasta, and the Ishvara Upadhi is total, complete. So it is Samastha. Samastha Vyapi. So Vyasta Vyapi means only pervades a limited space, time and all that. Samastha Vyapi means it is completely pervading. So whatever is Vyasta Vyapi is Vyashti, and whatever is Samastha Vyapi is Samashti. That is how these two words have to be understood. So he explains that. Then Iyam Vyashtihi Nikrishta Upadhitaya Malina Sattva Pradhana. Okay, so here Samashti is called Utkrishta, and the Vyashti Upadhi is called Nikrishta, means you can take it as inferior. Inferior because it is limited. That is superior because it is unlimited or total. The limitedness itself makes this inferior. So Vyashtihi, Iyam Vyashtihi, Iyam Upadhihi, Vyashti Upadhihi, Nikrishta. Okay. And also what? Malina Sattva Pradhana. Also this Vyashti Upadhi is also Sattva Guna is there. Without Sattva Guna, you won't have a mind which is sentient. But the mind itself is a limited Upadhi. It is having a certain covering, right? Everything is covered, and mind has to take a certain manovritti, we call it, correct? Certain form. It has to take the form of the object to even reveal something for destroying the ignorance. Therefore, it is tainted, you can say. Malina means something, it's a tainted, it's not Shuddha Sattva, it's not pure consciousness or pure Sattva Pradhan. Pure Sattva Guna is not there, it is tainted Sattva Guna, tainted by Rajo Guna we have to take. Because some people say Ishvara's Upadhi is only Sattva Guna. But Jiva Upadhi is tainted by Rajas also, or even Tamas also. We have to take all those things together. Malina Sattva Pradhana, Sattva Guna is there still, but it is also tainted by Rajas and Tamas. So that is the Vyakti Upadhi, it is Nikrishta, it is inferior due to this reason itself. And because it is inferior, why? Because it is Malina and it is limited. Okay, now what is the name of the individual conditioned consciousness? The totality, we saw the names and all that, correct? Now we are going to talk about the Upahita Chaitanyam with reference to the conditioning factor of the individual. So, Etad Upahitam Chaitanyam. So, this Chaitanya, which is conditioned by the individual Upadhis, and what characteristics it has? Alpajnatva, Anishwaratva. So, Alpajnatva, Anishwaratva Adi Gunakam. So, it is characterized by limited knowledge, correct? And also, you are not Ishvara because you are only limited. Ishvara is total, Sarvaishvara. But you also have Ishvaratvam. Correct? All the Bhagavad Gunas are there in the Jiva also, but it is all there, it is Sarva or all. Here it is Alpa or small. So all powerful, small powerful. Correct? Boss of all, you are also boss of some people, but boss of small people who are smaller than you, maybe, or beings which are smaller than you, you are boss. But beings who are bigger than you are a dasa. So like that, all and small. And therefore, it is also having a name called Prajnaha iti uchyate. Prajnaha means Prakarshena Ajnaha we have to take. Okay, the one who is really ignorant, well ignorant. Prajnaha iti uchyate. So the Upahita, the conditioned consciousness with reference to the Jiva Upadhi is called Prajnaha. Again, this is coming from the Upanishad. The Mandukya Upanishad also introduces this Prajna. Iti uchyate eka ajnana avabhasakatvat. Also, it is only lighting up one upadhi, one ajnanam with reference to a particular body mind sense complex alone. It is called prajna. Eka ajnana avabhasakatvat. It is only shining in one ajnana upadhi, single upadhi. Okay, further what? Asya prajnatvam aspashta upadhitaya anati prakashakatva. Okay, so this prajnatvam, when we say prajnatvam means, I said it is prakarshena ajna, correct? It is very well ignorant. We are ignorant about ourselves, we are ignorant about the world also. Ishvara is all knowing with reference to the world and also knows oneself also. Atma jnanam also is there. Here, when you are born, total ajnanam. Then while you grow up, you learn certain things about the world and all that. But still you are ignorant with reference to yourself, definitely. And so this prajnatvam, why it is there? That also the author is trying to tell you. Why? Because it is aspashta upadhitaya. The upadhi is not clear. Your own, that's why even see, we say it is all, you have to have sattva shuddhi and all that, correct? Antakarana shuddhi is a important qualification. So normally everybody is tainted. What are all the things which is making it aspashta? Unclear and all that. Because even for the something to manifest, the manifesting medium has to be clear, correct? Then only it can manifest as true to its nature. If the manifesting medium itself is not clear, then whatever is manifesting there also will be not clear. That is the idea here. Therefore, it is anati prakashakatvat also. It is not ati prakasha, means it does not manifest. It is dull. Okay. Like we call somebody who is dull means tube light and all that. So it is like tube light. Ishvara is like sun. We are like tube lights. Even to come up and shine, it takes some time. Correct? Tube lights. So the jiva upadhi is like a tube light and doesn't shine very brightly also. Maybe it can shine only in one room or in one single body mind sense complex. So it is not, it doesn't have ati prakashakatvam, it is anati prakashakatvam, and also it is aspashta. The upadhi is not spashta, therefore it doesn't shine everywhere. Okay, aspashta upadhitaya, because it is having unclear, or you can say turbid. Even if the water is turbid, it cannot really reflect anything, correct? Clear water can reflect things very nicely. So like that, this is aspashta, and because of that it is anati prakasha, and therefore that is what is called the prajñatvam. Because of that only this jiva is called prakarshena ajna. Okay, the prajñatvam of jiva is because of this. Okay, then the names, different names for Ishvara we saw there. Now for the Vyashti also we are going to see all the different names. Asya api yam ahankaradi karanatva karana shariram ananda prachuratva koshavad achadakatva च आनंदमय कोशः सर्व उपरमत्वा सुषुप्तिः अतः एव स्थूल सूक्ष्म शरीर प्रपंच लय स्थानमिति च उच्यते. In fact, this sentence is almost similar to the one we saw for Ishvara, correct? Here also it is there. It's 39 and 45 are somewhat similar. But of course, here it is ahankaradi karanatva. Okay? Because the jiva also has a karana shariram, but it is with reference to that individual. And the karana sharira, from the karana sharira only, ahankara, etc. Right? The stula, sukshma sharira, they are all coming from the individual jiva's karana sharira. Ahankara adi karanatva. So that is the karana for the individual's ahankara. And again, mind, etc., senses, and even the physical body and all that. So that is the karana shariram. So jiva also has the upadhi, that is called karana shariram. Ishvara upadhi also can be called karana shariram, but that is with reference to the total. This is with reference to the individual's ahankara, etc. Again, jiva also has ananda prachura. Right? When you go to sleep, whatever may be the problem, there is no problem in sleep. You sleep well, you say that I slept very well. It was great. You can get up and even recollect that enjoyment, correct? So that is with reference to the individual. The Anandamaya Kosha is actually your own experience, correct? It is your anubhava. We don't even need shruti for it. So the Anandamaya Kosha is there for us, and that is what is called Priya Moda Pramoda. And in Taittiriya Upanishad also the Anandamaya Kosha is talked about. Okay. So the Priya, Moda, Pramoda, these are all part of the Anandamaya Kosha. Like Priya means something you like, you are pleased by that. Then Moda means you are happy, joy. Pramoda means you are ecstatic, blissful, and all that. So all these things are part of Anandamaya Kosha, and the Anandamaya Kosha itself, in deep sleep also we know that, because we sleep very well. And everybody enjoys. Whatever may be the problem in the waking, in sleep there is no problem at least. So the Ananda Prachura is there. and sense also, it is really a covering. For the jiva, it is a covering. So, koshavat achadakatvat anandamaya kosha. So, each and every kosha, whether it is pranamaya kosha, manomaya kosha, and all that, they are all locus of your error. In fact, you have wrong identity. The body is a locus of error. And because it is a locus of error itself, it is covering your real nature. Correct? When you say, I am the body, I am black, I am fat, all that, you get shamed by your own body. And you are taking the body as I, means it has now covered your true nature. That's why it is a kosha. The pranamaya also is a kosha. That. Because pranamaya means with reference to your physiology also, you say I am hungry, I am thirsty, and all that. The I identity is placed on the prana. Then pranamaya kosha also becomes a covering. Annamaya kosha is a covering. Prana also is a covering that way. Because it is also locus of error. Then manomaya kosha, vijnanamaya kosha, anandamaya kosha. All of these things are koshas because they cover, as though like a cover, they cover your real nature. And all the identities you have to get freed, because all of these things are objects of your consciousness. Correct? You cognize, it is all an object of your cognition. You are the subject, eternal subject. The subject can never be the object. So that way the Vedanta sadhana is only one. It is always that you have to be alert to the knowledge that you are an eternal, conscious, limitless being. And any object of consciousness is not you. Anything which becomes evident to you is an object of your cognition, and that is not you. But the tragedy is you take all your objects of cognitions as I, as yourself. This is the error you have to get rid of. So, anyway, so here the covering kosha and also sarva uparamatva for the individual also. In sleep, everything resolves, right? Along with your mind, you are no more aware of your individuality also. Of course, Ishvara sleep means the entire world goes into pralaya. For the individual also, it's laya only. We don't call it pralaya, but it is laya. At the individual level, it is a laya. Your own physical body and sukshma sharira, subtle body, mind, etc., resolve into the karana, and that is sushupti, that is deep sleep, where everything resolves, everything comes to a stop. Sarva uparamatva sushuptihi ataha eva stula sukshma sharira prapancha layasthanam. So, for with reference to oneself, one's own stula sharira and sukshma sharira, etc., resolves into this karana shariram. Okay, that is the layasthanam. This. So the Jiva Upadhi itself again is called as Karana Shariram or Anandamaya Kosha and also as Sushupti. All these names can be given. And okay, we will stop here for this week. The other things we can see next week. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. ओम शांति 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 हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम